Hello and good afternoon. Good morning to all of you from all of us here at Julian Campbell Foundation. And today we are going to talk about everything we need to do to prepare our youth, to prepare our future. At this moment in time, did you know that every 40 seconds somebody is taking a permanent decision to end their life? And so, where do we start with all of this? We start with our youth. We start with our future. And so, first of all, I just want to tell you a little bit about me and why I am doing this, why I'm here. Um, Julian Campbell Foundation is in memory of my brother who lost his life to suicide. And through that pain, um, that me and our parents and nearest and dearest suffered, I saw that there was a need, for early intervention to support our youth. At the time when my brother made that decision, I was a consultant, I was a teacher. What I loved doing was going to difficult schools and turning them around. And I saw that in amongst all of this, that we have a lot of our young people that need early intervention, that need that support, because let's face it, their brains are still developing, even though most of their development happens by 90% of it happens by the time they're 5 years old, and their brains really are still developing until they're 25 years old. So what is it that we can be doing? So Julian Campbell Foundation is dedicated to my brother, Julian Campbell Foundation, and it's our mission to stamp out teen suicide and provide that early intervention that we can provide to children to help them manage their mood and raise their levels of emotional intelligence. Where we work in schools, in the community, youth clubs, and we work within families as well. And together we help support children and give the parents and their carers the skills that they need to be able to manage and help them improve their emotional intelligence and their mental health. So this conversation here is for anybody or any one of you or any one of us that is really passionate about our future, about our next generation, and and how to support them. So I just want to start off by talking about some statistics. Did you know that one in six children, now these are statistics from our National Health Service in 2023, so it's after the pandemic, one in six children has a mental health condition. So we're talking about anxiety, stress, depression, as well as some of the most weightier ones. However, in the UK, we refrain from diagnosing too early. And 50% of our young people have already a lot of mental illnesses that occur in adulthood are already seen. 50% of them are seen by the time they're 14 years old, and 75% are already seen by the time that they're 18 years old. So what this means is that there's a lot more that we can be doing from 0 to 18 to help and support our young people to strengthen that boundary and that platform from teenagers or childhood to adulthood. And so also, you know that out of all of our young people that have a mental health concern, one third of them are getting the support they need, which means that 2 out of 3 young people that are expressing or experiencing a mental health challenge or mental health difficulty or an illness, they're not getting that prompt intervention that they so desperately need at that time. And also as well that it takes sometimes from up to 10 years from the time that a young person starts to suffer from symptoms of this, from mental distress, to the time they actually get the correct support they need. This is 10 to 12 years of wait, or experimenting or trying one organization and one kind of support to the next and finally finding what they need. And in the last 10 years, suicides with our girls have risen up to almost 70%. So we're talking about self-harm rates. And so let's talk about the causes of a mental health concern in our young people. So I started Julian Campbell Foundation in 2009, and we registered as a charity in 2011, which means that now for the last 15 years we have been supporting a lot of young people, so thousands of young people and their families. And there's a lot that our young people are dealing with. So our young people, they are dealing with pressure from social media, and body image. So a lot of our young people, I mean, I don't know, some of you might know, however, the suicide rates that started jumping up with our teenagers around 2010, 2011. And around 2010 is when the smartphones started coming out. And some of our young people are spending 10 to 12 hours a day on social media. They don't have the brain capacity and the development to be able to sustain that length of time. I would say, from the research that I've seen, 2 hours a day maximum in the week time, and 3 hours a day maximum at the weekend is more than enough. However, 10 hours a day, anything more than 5 hours a day, doesn't work for our young people, because in our teenagers and our children, it's a frontal cortex, which is the front here of the brain, that is developing. And it develops best through socialization, of peers, socialization with adults, being out there. It doesn't work to be in a computer or in social media for all of that time. So what can we do about this? So schools are now starting to ban phones in school, which has had an impact on the learning and focus. The schools are a lot calmer. I remember being in one school one time when a fight broke out, and this was through one person, one child texting another one in another class, and then everybody was outside. So without all of the phones there, then our young people can focus on their learning. So this is really good for us to do this. And what we're doing as parents and carers, when our children come home, are you letting them be in their bedrooms alone with their social media accounts, with their video games? Because a young person with a frontal cortex that is developing needs to be out and about and out there and developing their brain, because it develops until 25 years old. Not looking and spending too much time in social media, where our young girls, can quite often look at and have complexes with body image because of what they're seeing in social media and comparing themselves to what they see there, instead of being out in the world and developing their own self-worth and and building up their own self-esteem. Um, so this is one thing. Mobile phones, really, or the smartphones, should be given to our children from 16 years old and above, not before that, because our young people, their brains are just not adapted to that. And the surge of the neurotransmitters, the dopamine, just doesn't, it's too much for a child to have that reward chemical, to have that reward without any work. So some of these new neurotransmitters and dopamine, it works well if there's an activity and then a reward. And if they're just getting the reward by just scrolling on Instagram and scrolling on TikTok, then it really does hamper with their focus and concentration. They're less likely able to focus and concentrate in their schools, which is then going to turn over and run over into their universities, because it will be difficult for them to do the reading from the reading list, to focus and concentrate on completing their degrees. So really, that's one thing we can do, is just make sure that we are monitoring them, their use of social media, that they shouldn't have social media until they're 16 years old. And also, when they're using this, I mean, I know that, would you as a parent or carer let your child go out from 12 midnight, 1 o'clock, and stay out all night? And of course, the answer is no. However, we are allowing our young people to do this on the internet, on social media, and they are out unaccompanied with an adult, and there's all kind of menaces and threats out there, and we don't show our young people how to manage that. And did you know that young people from 2 years old, we are giving to our 2 year olds their own their own tablet, for because of course it keeps them quiet, but of course this is impacting their brain development. We know that 90% of our child's brain is developed by the time they're 5 years old. We know that by 7 years old, that quite a lot of the development has already happened. And if we are allowing them to be in social media, for them to be using their tablets, then this doesn't really help them with the development of their frontal, their cerebral cortex here, which has the implications of lack of concentration. So let's go on to the second one that we talk about often here in the foundation, is exam stress and exam anxiety, because quite often exam choices, poor exam choices, or stress and anxiety of exams coming up, can cause mental health difficulties. And what we actually do is we use our mood map. So I'm just going to bring up the mood map. With our children, and a mood map is a measure. A mood is a measure of two things: how much or how little energy we've got, and how we're feeling. Thank you for that, Maureen. Thank you. Are we thinking? Are we feeling really, really positive? So should we say we're feeling really, really positive? So we'd be over here on the yellow and the green side. Or are we feeling rubbish? Are we feeling like down? Feeling depressed, and we'll be over here. If we've got a lot of energy, we'll be up here in the red, and low energy will be down here in the blue. So mood is a mixture of two things: how much energy we've got and how we're feeling. We're feeling really pleasant, or we're feeling really, really rubbish. And it's those the two things in that moment that give us our mood. And we use this in the foundation. We use this with the young people that we're working with in schools, in the community. Also, as well, we use this with parents. The parents take it and say, "This is great. It's great for me to measure my mental health and well-being." And it's really great for us to use with our young people, to show them or to teach them how to measure their mood, because a lot of young people don't understand that their mood can change depending on the conversations they have, who they're with, and what they're doing. And for them to be able to know where they are in their mood. So for example, a lot of our young people could be see over here in the red zone. So they're high energy, and they're feeling they've got a negative mood. And when they're feeling like this, and they could be feeling stressed or anxious, there's lots of activities that our mood mentors can give them to bring their levels down, and also to the bright side or the right side of the map. Because once they're over here, then we've got neurotransmitters being released, such as serotonins and endorphins through exercise, which is really great for the mood, helps revision, helps and helps keep a young person in action. So if you're interested, we can send you a free mood map afterwards, and please message me, because we're going to start a challenge very soon, because it's a very good way of not only us as adults identifying where we are, but helping a young person to identify where they are, because once they know where they are, they've got a choice. whether they want to stay there or whether they want to move into another mood, and what they need to do exactly to give them to put them into another mood. And finally, what I want to say about this is that a lot of parents will, a young person, a parent might say, for example, how was your school today? And they'll say, oh, I feel really down. And because we want to protect them, we negate what it is that they're feeling. Oh, you shouldn't feel like that. You're young, you're beautiful, you've got this, you've got your whole life ahead of you. And what we really need to do in that moment is to listen actively. Sometimes saying nothing is the best thing, because our children want us to listen and really get what it is that they're saying and get into their world instead of trying to defend them and try not to hurt them. It's important that our young people are feeling these emotions and that they have these moods because they belong to them. And only they can understand it, and then they can start managing and changing their moods. So really, it's for us to show a young person and to allow them to know how it is that they're feeling and to acknowledge it. And if they want to stay in that zone, for example, if they're feeling anxious and they've had a stressful day, um, and and you listen to them and you listen for what it is, that why is it that they're feeling anxious, and then you can start talking about what they can do to manage that and then change their mood on the mood map. So we've been talking about the causes of mental health difficulties. We've talked about social media and body image. We've talked about academic stress and anxiety, and also identity struggles. It is difficult because a young person, when they're growing up, they are trying, or they are looking for themselves and their interpretation of themselves and their identity in the world. And it does help for our young people to be out there engaged in conversations with others as they find themselves, rather than social media, because that's where the struggles can be perpetuated. And also a lack of trust, or lack of trust, or lack of belief in adults. And so what I can say about that is that it's, again, the social media doesn't really help. And talking with and speaking with adults, and for us as adults and carers, really saying what it is that we mean and being what it is that we say. So if we say that we're going to take them out and do something, that we stick to that. Because if we don't, if we say one thing and do another, then we're showing our future, we're showing our children that it's okay to do that, and then they'll lose that trust and confidence in us. So let's just go into the next stage now. So we're going to start talking about what is working. What is it that we're doing that is really turning things around for our children and young people as early intervention in their mental health and well-being. So we have mood mentors all over the world. So since we founded Julian Campbell Foundation in the UK, we now have Julian Campbell Foundation International in Florida, and we have in Colombia as well. We have Julian Campbell Foundation, where's Fundación Julian Campbell, and we work there, and we have our mood mentors. And our mood mentors are not academic mentors. They don't mentor young people to help them achieve better grades, but rather our mentors are mood mentors. They help young people to identify and manage their mental health and well-being, and furthermore to help and manage the mental health and well-being of those around them, because this is emotional intelligence. So we have our mood mentors, and our mood mentors support young people, helping them to read and improve their mood management through mood maps. And this has been really beneficial. Yeah, it's been really beneficial, and lots of young people have said that it's really helped them. Lots of parents have said that it's really helped them. So this is one thing that we do. We also, in our schools, we go in and we do psychodrama workshops. Psychodrama is a really fun way, and research shows it was previously used on groups in hospitals around mental health and well-being, and it was found to have an impact and a therapeutic effect. And we've taken that into schools because some of the topics we work on. So, for example, body image, the dangers of social media, as well as anxiety and making friends, and we have a lot of topics that we focus on depending on the population of the school, on what the teachers feel and the students feel that they need, the intervention they need for themselves. And so for us, we when we're doing the drama workshops, and let's say, for example, we're looking at the dangers of social media, we will do a lot of group work and give them a conundrum. So we'll give them something like, a real life story, like she's in one of the finalists for X Factor. She was only 14 years old and she was doing so well. She was going into the live finals. And then unfortunately, they found some footage of her bullying somebody on YouTube. There was these phone reels and evidence, and she got thrown out of X Factor, and it was just such a shame because she's so talented. But something like this we use as an example for our children because they don't realize that their genetic that there's a tattoo, like a social media from everything that they do. It's there on social media and it doesn't get lost, such that today a lot of people, when you go for a job, the employers are looking you up on social media because they can look backwards and see what it is that you've done. So we have this group work and psychodrama, and through the group work, the groups are working through these problems and conundrums, and it's like they've experienced it themselves. And then that way, when they come out of the training, then they know what to do in that situation for themselves. And also, as well, if a friend is going through something, like, for example, I've just started dating somebody and they've asked me to show them a picture of, me without my bra. All of these and more conundrums and case studies we look at, and we approach through psychodrama workshops. And this is because the young people, it's like they've lived and experienced it. Then when they go back out into the world, they can then have the maturity to be able to know how to address each situation that comes up to them and their friends. And so we also provide parents and carers resources. So my book, Runs in the Family, is for a parent or a carer to show them how to manage their mental health and well-being, and to show us as adults how to, because we are the role models, we are the future. So if we want to impact the future, it's through us and our behavior and what we're putting in place that really makes a difference. And in that book and in our classes, we look at simple things like active listening, which is what we train our mentors to do, active listening, eating together, like 5 meals a week together is really great for a young person to help them develop socially and increase and improve their levels of emotional intelligence. So, and also as well the content of the food, the nutrition, all of these things we address. I just want to tell you the before we finish, just a couple of stories recently. That in the last 2 or 3 months through our mentoring services. So we had a young boy that was being mentored. He's 15 years old and hadn't left his house since the pandemic. And our mentors work for 12 weeks, 1 week, each week, 1 hour. And since the pandemic, we are in person and also online. And by the end of his 12 sessions, he was going out, he was going to the gym, really, and his mom was just so happy because she'd been trying to do all of this and encourage him for the 2 years and hadn't really gotten anywhere. And another boy I want to talk about, he was diagnosed with anorexia, And when we started seeing him and supporting him, he was, we found that he had an addiction to computer games. And we looked at how he could overcome this. And, instead of being in his room all of the time, which he was coming from school and going on to his computer games, our mentor worked with him, and he reduced the time that he was on the computer games. And I remember speaking with his parent after the mentor had completed the 12 sessions, and the parent was just really overjoyed. It's the same parent that I spoke with at the beginning that was saying, "Oh, I've tried so many things and we don't know what to do," and who's been diagnosed with anorexia. And she was really happy because, thank you, Jasmine. Thank you. Have you got any questions? Anything you want to say? Yeah, this parent was saying that that her child, she was really worried because he'd disappear in the bedroom for hours, and also in the summer holidays, and she didn't really see him. And over the 12 weeks mentoring, she saw the difference, that he was coming down more. He'd baked some cookies and some cakes. He'd cooked a meal for them, so it was a steak meal, and also as well that he was spending time and some quality time with his little sister, and she was just really blown away and thanking us for the difference that we'd made on her child. And she did say as well, like, well, I have my daughter that will be coming into secondary school next year. Like, it's really great to know that, just in case that services such as yours are there. And then one final example I want to give is a young girl that was in year 7, and she was having some difficulty in adapting to the new school. Um, her parents were saying to me before that she got on really well in her primary school. She did very, very well. She was top of the school. And then something happened, and there was some homework that she brought in. She thought she'd done it and she hadn't done it. And from that, she got a detention. And from that time, she changed. She was in constant anxiety. And a mentor started working with her and didn't even get to the 12 weeks. It was 1 hour a week for 12 weeks. It was after the fourth or fifth week, the fifth session, the young person came and said, "Oh, I don't need any more support anymore," because the mentor had worked through everything with her. And the year head was just overjoyed and said, I can't believe it, because this young child, she was always at my office at some point in the day, crying or upset about something that had happened to her during the school day. And she'd felt, and now she was integrating. She had her friendship group. She wasn't any longer coming to him and crying and doing things like this. So like so he was really, really pleased. So, oh, Jasmine, I'm really glad you're addressing parents about the problems children face in electrical gadgets. You're doing a fabulous job with your presentation. Thank you about that, Jasmine. And just to let you know that we find that the boys seem to have they're more for the computer games, and it's the girls that are more for the social media. And if you wouldn't let your child out at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, out all night, then neither should you let them on social media, or unaccompanied for this duration. So if there's any more questions that you have, we have lots of examples, and maybe a child, or you might have somebody that wants to use our services, or even to be trained up as a mentor. And for us as adults, it's really important to have the early intervention, because remember I said that 50%, of the adult mental health illnesses, 50% of them are already seen by the time a young person is 14 years old. So 50% of them are seen before 14 years old. There's something that we can do at that time before the child reaches 14 to help them manage, identify their mental health difficulty, and help them manage and overcome it. And similarly, 85% is already seen by the time a young person is 18 years old. So there's a lot more that we can be doing as adults to support our children and cause that early intervention. And and this isn't just for the health professionals. This isn't just for psychologists and psychologists. It's all of our conversation. It's for all of us to look at young people in our lives and listen to them, really, listen actively instead of, telling them, like, with love, and telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do the other. It's even better if we can listen to them. In actual fact, what we suggest is like 20 minutes to half an hour listening to them and what it is that they're dealing with every day, where you're not correcting them, you're not adjusting what it is that they're saying, you're not telling them, you're not, nothing like that, but let them, because don't forget that they are searching, they're searching and establishing their identity. And it's good that they're doing it in front of you as parents and carers, rather than doing it out there in social media with somebody else. So um so today we've talked about what we can do, or the problems of child mental health today, and what we are doing to mitigate that and to overcome that. And we can do it, and we are doing it. And it's as I said before, it's not just for the professionals, it's for us as adults to really actively be listening to our children at the root causes of what's going on for them, and using tools like the mood map so we can help them manage and measure their mood, actively listening to them and building trust through being our word about things that we've promised to them. Um, and also, as parents and carers, it's even more important that we take care of ourselves and we give ourselves the time and everything that we need, because if we give ourselves what we need, we'll be able to cause and support our future, and have that powerful future. So I want to just finish by saying something that a lot of young people have found really impactful, because through use of the mood map and all of these other instruments, young people are seeing that it does it a lot of young people have been making a permanent decision on a temporary emotion, and really to instill in them that if we're feeling bad, if they're feeling rubbish, it's a temporary emotion. Like, good things, or the good stuff doesn't last, and neither does the bad stuff. When you're feeling bad, you're feeling rubbish, it doesn't last forever. When you're feeling great and you're feeling good, that doesn't last forever either. It's all really fleeting. So it's really instilling in our young people that, not to take a permanent decision for a temporary emotion, and to be there in their world, listening to them to help them formulate who they are and their identity for the next generation. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching this live. And if there's any questions, then please do write them down. Oh, we've got another message from Jasmine. Social media is a villain of the piece. Parents need to take hands in action and reducing phone with their children. Yes, yes. And Jasmine is a teacher trainer, and she teaches teachers how to teach, and she also teaches young people as well. She's a specialist, and so she can see what's going on in the schools and what our young people are dealing with. So let's get together and really make this a better world for our future, for our young people, by really mitigating some of these things that that aren't working for them in this moment. So thank you for watching this video, and if there's any comments, please put them down in the chat if you're watching the rerun. And if there's anything else you want us to talk about, the things that we're doing in the foundation in different countries, then please do ask, and we'll speak about them in the next video. Thank you. Bye.